Yes, for those of you who I haven't met before, I'm Charlie. I run Urban Writers Retreat. So basically, I do a bunch of stuff to try and help people to sit down and write and to do the thing that they really love. So I've been doing it since, I don't know, 2008 or 9, with in-person retreats and online courses and things, but and also just resources like this workshop, which I'm hoping will get you excited about the new year. And we're just going to take an hour or so to have time to yourself to actually think about what it is, how the last year's gone, what it is that you want to do this year. I've got you all on mute. It may be that we have time to stop and share one or two points. I'm not sure. We will have to see how we go. Um, can everyone hear me though? I'm assuming that you can because I'm not. Lovely. And does anyone need the links to the worksheets? I hope that you would have all got them from the thing. I don't have enough space on my screen to juggle everything. Right, I put one up there. So let's get going. Um, the approach to this that I tend to take is that I will give you a prompt and then put up a timer. Um, to some people, depending on how you think, it might feel quite quick. Don't feel rushed by it. The idea is that it is quite fast. That I want you to just write the first thing that comes into your head and keep writing. So we're trying to bypass our kind of the conscious voice that is telling us what we should do or telling us how we should feel, and get to what's underneath. So that is why I put the timer on and why it's reasonably fast for some of them. So it doesn't have to be perfect. This does mean that, for example, like so I do these in the writing diary, and I always do it in pencil because I always feel like, what if I change my mind afterwards? And what's interesting is that normally I don't, but it's good to have that option if you want to. Think of it as version 1.0. This does not have to be perfect. There's no pressure on this at all. If for any of the questions you don't have enough time, it's fine. You can just come back to it later. So, um, if you have questions at any time, oh, sorry, I'm just seeing more people that I haven't seen for ages. Hello. Um, Kate in particular, I haven't seen you for ages. Uh, I'm going to I'm going to share my screen, and let's get into it. Okay. So we are going to start with a little review of last year and then look at what your writing dreams are in a bigger overall sense before you bring that back down and set some goals for this year. And then we'll break it down a bit so that you've got a better idea of I suppose more manageable chunks that you or milestones that you're going to need to hit. Because a year is a long time to think about things. It is much easier to think about things in smaller chunks. We're also going to look at your writing habits, and what you can do to actually support yourself and make this happen. So, first of all, let's celebrate what was positive in the last year. So, I want you to list every small thing that you have achieved in your writing life. It might sound ridiculous. It might be something like, I started journaling again. Actually, the first step is the most important. It's still, everything counts. What did you enjoy and learn? What were you happy or proud about? What do you want more of? And what worked for you? If you are in a position where you have not been writing, where you're just coming to it, then you can put absolutely tiny things like I started journaling, or I was reading people's newsletters to do with writing and trying to get myself back into the zone. But also, I think it's really good to kind of have that good base of what went well last year before you start thinking about next year. It puts you into a positive frame of mind. So if you really haven't done any writing, just write other good things that you did. What can you be proud of yourself for? What did you achieve? Okay. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes and I will go on silent for that. And then we will pause and move on. Okay. Hopefully you've got something to be getting on with. Please do come back to this. Um, you may well have much more than you can fit in here. And I just think it's a really, really powerful process to keep reminding yourself of all of the good things that you have done. And it also means that you start looking for what you have done instead of what you haven't done. Um, and it's if you found that you weren't couldn't quite remember everything, that you weren't sure what you did, I am going to share a tool with you which I have found really kind of impactful in my life. And it actually, this tool was kind of behind why the writing diary came about in the first place. So it's really simple. It's a weekly review. It's, it's not some big fancy thing, but a very simple weekly review, basically following exactly what we're going to do here. So, like what went well, what have you done? So good things that have happened, but also specifically, what have you done to make your life better or to get yourself one step closer towards where you want to be? Um, what hasn't gone so well and why, which is what we're coming to in a minute. What can you learn from things, and then you can kind of do a little reset. And what happens is that if you do this weekly, or I mean honestly, every few weeks, sometimes I look at my notes and I haven't done it for 2 months, it doesn't matter. If you keep coming back to this, you will build up lists of things that you have done, steps that you have taken, and it gives you proof that you can do this, and it trains you to go, oh yeah, hey, I've done this, I can do this, what is my next step? I find it really useful, and doing a monthly review. So now when I come to do something like this, all I have to do is to look back at my monthly reviews, which is partly why I set the thing up how I did. But it doesn't matter how you do it. I also have this notebook, which I do for my work stuff, and I do exactly the same process. So regular reviews, weekly if you can, 10 minutes every week, set your week up right. And then monthly to just go, okay, decompress. How's it gone? What do I need to tweak and change? Because your life is going to change, and how you feel is going to change. Your energy is going to change. And you can be, it doesn't have to be static. Your habits don't have to be static. And you can constantly be saying, what is going to work for me right now? So I'm going to try doing the screen share a little bit differently this time because I think that you guys couldn't see my timer just now. And oh, is that, are you saying you could see it, Hilary? Oh, okay, that's fine. I'll do it that way then. They've got a new function where I can have my presentation over my shoulder, but it feels a bit weird for me to be just sitting there the whole time. So we'll stay as we are. We are going to move on to what didn't work so well last year. And the point of this, those of you who know me will know what I'm about to say. It's not about it's not about beating yourself up. This is information. Um, so the most important thing about what didn't work so well is why. Um, because sorry, I'm trying to scroll through my notes as well at the same time. Um, so it might be that actually you had a really difficult year, and realistically, you didn't have time or the mental energy to do the things that you wanted to do writing wise. Um, so there's no point in giving yourself a hard time about it. Whereas if the problem was that you couldn't approach it mentally because you didn't feel like you knew enough about it, or because you don't feel, because you need more training, knowing the why behind why you haven't done things, or because your habits aren't working for you, because you're just procrastinating and doom scrolling, that is really useful information. And that is why we do the what isn't working so well. So let me go back to my screen share. I'm only going to give you 3 minutes for this because we don't need to spend so much time on what isn't going well, um, other than when we want to change it. So yeah, um, did you have goals that you failed to do? Um, or is there anything that felt like a failure, felt like you disappointed yourself? Is there something that was frustrating, which could be external as well? Why was it? Why was it that you got stuck? And I do think it's really useful to think about what bad habits got in your way, even if the year has gone well. So let's take 3 minutes for that. Off we go. Okay. We're going to go on to goals in a sec, but before we do, I think there's an amount of us here that means that unfortunately we can't do this by actually talking, which is a shame because I would love to talk to you all. But please share with me in the comments, write down a win from last year. Um, I love seeing these. It's always so exciting seeing what people's uh, you know what people have done over the year or what has most excited them. I don't think mine from last year was terribly exciting. I did I did I did make some more substantive progress on the recipe book that I have been promising for a long time. Um, Unfortunately, I discovered that it's quite boring. But I did commit to doing it, and I'm going away for a few days to do more of it soon. So for any of you who have been asking me where it is, it's coming. Um, and while we're waiting for a couple more of those to come in, I'm going to talk about the goals approach. So what I'm going to do is ask you 4 questions, and we will have 2 minutes per question. So we'll start with your big, never in a million years dream. Then you'll think about where you want to be in, say, 5 years' time with your writing. Um, but actually, what you want to do this year, it might not be any of those things. It might be that you want a really productive year that's going to take you on a step towards that. But it might be that actually you've just done something big and you are in kind of a fallow period that you need to do a bit of wintering and hibernation. Or it might be that you need to explore something new, or just that your interest is taking you off in a different direction. Something's tugging you away at the moment. So those big goals might not be the ones that you want. So we're then going to brainstorm different things that you might want to write and things that you might want to do in your wider writing life. And then when you've got all of those ideas, then you'll sort through them and actually set some goals. Um, yeah, I mean, obviously, so the tools that are here, they're kind of quite simple productivity tools. So if you want to kind of go, I'm going to write a novel this year and break it down, it'll work really well. But don't feel like you have to set goals based on the things that you think that you should do, or the things that you thought you wanted previously. I mean, I think that my goal this year is actually going to be to rest, at least for the first few months. And the thing about doing regular reviews is that you then have you have an opportunity every few months to go, okay, are these goals still the right ones? You can change during the year. Let's have a look at what people did this year. Oh, nice to see some emoji love going on. Pernell wrote a novel that she hadn't planned to write. That's very exciting. Annie, you stopped writing for about 7 months, but you feel ready to come back to it with a different approach. That is great. Yeah, because it feels really disconcerting, doesn't it? Particularly because you're so productive normally. Um, Mannequin completed the first draft of her novel and started editing it. Penny wrote and delivered a 5-minute comedy sketch in front of a crowd. That is terrifying. Well done. Yeah, that's amazing. Jean entered the writing competition, polished a synopsis and opening chapters to do it. I know that you've actually done a lot more than that. Yes, Nigel has published 2 books. Some of them I know, were written like it's not that he wrote and published in one year. Please drop us the links in the chat, Nigel. They're based on Good King Wenceslas. Fiona finished your edits on the book, yes. And I have seen Fiona at various points in the year, so I know that it's a slog, and it's so exciting that that slog has paid off and that you've done it. Helen, first draft of a police procedural novel and started the edit. Brilliant. Cecilia, stopped feeling like writing a novel is a huge unachievable mission. That is huge. Really brilliant. Claire, publish your first novel. Yay! Please put a link. Gail, you started writing the Substack you set up in 2022. Please give us the link. Gail does ADHD book coaching. Book doubling is your brand, isn't it? So please put a link to that. And anyone else who has other links that you have been too modest to say so far. Sarah wrote a first draft. Yes, you did. Eliza got a publisher for a non-fiction book, and you've been doing tons of work on it. Esther, it took you until September after creating the goal several months previously. Yeah, but you started a Substack newsletter and be writing consistently. Brilliant. Roots and Rhythm in the Rive in the wild. Please put a link. That sounds really interesting. And yeah, I think that there's quite often this gap where we think that we should set a goal and go at it immediately, but sometimes like you need some internal kind of processing coming to it. It takes, some people go for it straight away. It takes me a long time to actually approach things, and I tend to develop projects over a period of years. So yeah, I think that's normal. Um, info is that I info I don't, is that Rosemary? I completed and published the final book in the Solstice Thriller trilogy. Please drop us that link. That's brilliant. Um, synopsis and first two chapters for editorial review. Charming. And you got a bit stuck for a while, presumably after getting the feedback. I think you really do need to give yourself, yeah, some decompression time after getting feedback. Um, Christina, first book contract. Yes, amazing. Published in February. Please give us a link. Nikki, your revision is getting better. You delete tens of thousands of words. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't always feel good, but brilliant. Hilary, you also have a Substack, kept writing your novel, multiple narrators, great. Link, please. Um, Miranda, I'm astonished that you're still here. Keeping your daily writing routine. Yeah, that's great. And I think that thing about just approaching your work regularly makes a huge difference. Lucy, you wrote your first pieces in the Cornish language. Oh my God, that is incredible. Yeah, and events and things. That's brilliant. Kate made a person. Oh, how wonderful. And journaling. I honestly, I think that if you're doing that on maternity leave, you are golden. And that's everyone's links. Brilliant. Oh yes, and Annie's left a link. She is an editor. Great. Thank you. It's so nice to see what everyone has done. And I'm sorry if I've missed anyone, but we're going to go on to setting some goals now. So, uh, yeah, I'm going to give you 2 minutes for each, and we'll pause very briefly in between. So let's start with, what is your biggest, most ridiculous writing dream? Do you want to be on the Oprah Book Club? Do you want to win a Booker Prize? Do you want to have a play shown at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival? Um, but not just what you want to write, but if you could be, have, or do anything from your writing, what would it be? Let's have 2 minutes for that. Okay, let's move on to the second one. Where do you want to be in 5 years with your writing? And the most interesting part of this question is, again, the why. What does that dream of being on a stage at a literary festival, or whatever it is, what does the dream mean to you? So is it about money? Is it about lifestyle, the respect from kind of being validated by the industry? Is it about creative freedom? If you were living that way in 5 years, what is it about the experience of being that person? What is it that you want? Um, and you might find that there's unexpected things like that you love talking to people, you love meeting people, or what you actually want is a feeling of kind of spaciousness in your life and feeling like you can work on the things that you want to work. And knowing that is really useful because it might be that you can actually get little elements of that dream into your life now or much sooner than 5 years. But the 5 year picture is also good to have just kind of as a dream, as a North Star to work towards. So 2 minutes for that. I've been very much enjoying the interference that Hester's cat is running in the background here, determined to not let you do your planning. Okay, so what do you want to write? Just this is just a brain dump of all of the random ideas that are in your head. So if you have a file somewhere of ideas or a list, then that this is a good time to grab that. So it could be actual ideas, it could be unfinished stories, it could just be topics and genres, or just things that you want to talk about. This can be as defined or as loose as you like. Just chuck down anything and everything that you want to write about. And yeah, try and focus on the things that call to you and that you love rather than what you should do. Okay, and actually, I think I might only give you 1 minute for this. I think this is kind of a shorter one for most people. The final one category is stuff that isn't writing, but that is writing adjacent or related. So it might be learning that you want to do. So it might be learning skills, going on a course, going on a retreat. It might be developing a better routine. It might be stopping the doom scrolling, going out for a walk first thing in the morning, that kind of stuff. It might be building a website, hiring an editor, or learning learning about something for research, anything like that. So I'll give you a minute for that. Okay, so now we come to actually setting your goals, which is very exciting. I've got a framework that I use. You can do it however you like, but let me talk you through how I do it and why. So, my format is something along the lines of, or has the elements in of, I want to do this. So this year I am going to set your goal. In order to do this, I'm going to do whatever, and then I'm going to do that. So you're giving yourself steps. Oh no, I thought there was some examples there. There is not. In that case, let me pull up the worksheet, which does have examples in. Um, so yeah, when you're saying I want to, this is actually about your why. This is the bigger thing behind the goal. So if you wanted to write a business book, this is my first example. I want to establish myself as an authority figure in my industry by writing a business book. Um, that's kind of your why. You're leading with your why so that when you look at this, you're remembering why you're doing it, and it kind of hopefully will remind you of the motivation behind it. Then you set your goal. This year I'm going to research. And now, writing a business book in this scenario, I've assumed that this person might think that writing a business book in a year is that they might not be able to do the whole thing in a year. So they've broken it down. This year, I will research how to approach publishers and agents. Then I'm going to write a chapter outline and a proposal, find 10 targets to send it to, plus upgrade my social media to be helpful and topic based so that I have an appropriate social platform. So business books are, non-fiction books are the other way around to fiction books. So you would write a proposal first before writing it. And so this is focusing on that part of the process, on trying to actually get the contract. So hopefully that kind of shows you why I do them that way. And I want you to pick between 1 and 3 goals. They should be things that you actually want. So again, just sit with yourself for a moment, and when you're looking through your ideas, start highlighting the ones that you like the best, or crossing off ones that you think no, not yet. And you can keep a back burner list, and a shiny pretty new ideas list, but you only want 1 to 3, because there's a limit to how much stuff you can do. You've got a life to lead as well. You've probably got work, all the rest of it. And if you're trying constantly to make progress across 10 different projects, you're only going to get this far, and it's going to be really hard to keep motivation. Whereas if you put a lot of energy into one, really making it happen, that'll then kind of it's really fulfilling, as all of the people who have done these amazing things here this year are showing, and you're more likely to then go on and do the next ones. Um, if your brain doesn't work that way, you can work on multiple ones concurrently, which is kind of why I say three goals. You can also set goals that might only last 3 months and then set a new one later. Absolutely fine. Um, yeah, however you do this work, it's up to you. Do it in the way that is going to suit the way that your brain works. Um, is that everything I need to tell you? Oh, yeah. Make sure that you're setting goals that are in your control. So your ultimate dream might be to, I don't know, win whatever prize. Um, an annual goal of winning this prize is not going to work because you don't have control of that. Your goal would need to be the thing that is in your control. So I am going to do the entry, and I'm going to give myself the best chance of actually doing a good job by getting feedback on my submissions packet, by writing my synopsis, all of the steps that you can do. So yeah, your aim would be to do the best submission that you could, not to win the prize. Does that make sense? And I'm going to give you 8 minutes. These timings, they're please, if they're all wrong, someone tell me afterwards, because they're kind of based on me doing it once or twice, but I'm not doing it with you because I'm always too kind of keyed up during this to actually focus. And I'm never quite sure whether it's wildly out in any direction. But I'm going to give you 8 minutes to look through your notes and come up with your 1 to 3 goals. Okay. Okay. Does everyone have something to be getting along with? Looks like a yes. So we'll move on. Um, so goals are all well and good, but the thing that well, goals are great, but what I'm really interested in is helping you to move towards action and making it happen in a sustainable way, which is where this whole to do this, I'm going to, and then I'm going to, that kind of starting to break it down thing comes in. So we're going to do a little visualization now. And I'm going to talk you through it, and then you'll have a few minutes to to journal on the experience. So anyone who wants to turn their video off for this, do. You'll all have your eyes shut so no one can see you, but it like it's weird. So so go ahead and turn them off if you want to. Um, and it doesn't matter if you are not someone who can actually visualize things in pictures, you can know you're there and this will work just the same. So please make yourselves comfortable where you're sitting. Try and make sure that you've got no distractions and nothing that is going to ping at you while we do this. And I just want you to take a really good deep breath in through your nose, right down into your stomach. And then release it through your mouth. Take one more of those in. Out through your mouth, and just shut your eyes if you haven't already. One more breath in. And a long, slow exhale. And just start to bring your attention into your body. So feel your hands. Feel the seat underneath you. Feel your feet. Feel your face. And then feel yourself grounded in the center of your body. And then I want to imagine that you are zooming forwards through the year to this time next year. So it's the turn of the year, and it's 2027. And you are wherever you want to be. You're in your writing room, you're in your home, you're off on an exciting adventure. But you have achieved those goals that you've just set. You've had a great writing year and you feel fantastic. You're so proud of yourself. And I want you to flip in your mind. Imagine maybe that you're thinking about this review process. So you're looking back over 2026. Maybe you're flipping back through your work and just think about how you did it. How did you achieve those goals? What did it look like actually sitting and doing that work? How much time did you put into it? Did you need to change what you were doing? Did you need to change the way that you think about writing or the way that you feel? Did it change the way you feel about yourself? Did you change by doing? Or did changing your habits and the way you think allow you to do the writing? And think about a time, maybe in the middle of the year, something went wrong, you lost your confidence and you stopped writing for a while. But you came back from it and you still met all those goals at the end of the year. How did you do it? How did you recover? And I want you to think about which routines, habits, systems made a difference. What was it that allowed you to make such great progress this year? And I also want you to list the things that you stopped doing, the things that you stopped being available for. And then this future you that's looking back over the year and that's done all these fantastic things, I want you to give a message to the you that's sitting here now in your chair. When you look back over the past year, having done all of this exciting stuff, what did you need to know at the start of the year? What words of reassurance and encouragement? And then we're just going to take another deep breath. And as you let that out, just start to back away from that future you, back towards your body now, back into your chair. And when you're there, you can start feeling your body again, feeling those feet on the floor and the chair under you, whatever you're sitting on. Feel the breath in your body. And then we're going to take one more deep breath in. Let that out slowly. And then you're going to open your eyes and write down everything that you have learned that's going to help you this year. Okay. I hope that that was a nice, heartening experience and that you have got some good ideas for how you're going to progress through the year. We are going to move on. And the reason that I like doing this before we go into breaking down goals is that the thing that makes the difference between just kind of having some vague dream up there and helping yourself to actually get to it, it comes down to the actions and the steps that you take on a consistent, if consistent-ish, right, on a regular basis. It's the doing the thing and how you make it easy for yourself to do it that makes the difference between whether you get there or not a lot of the times. That and perseverance, obviously. So getting those ideas from from your future self, of how you got there is really useful to do before you start breaking your goals down. So let's we're going to so this says on the green that we're going to break each goal into 4 broad chunks, one per quarter. We're not actually going to do that. I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes, and you can just break down each of your goals into a chunk that is manageable for the first quarter, for January to March. And think of this as provisional, I would say, and then give it a break, go out for a little walk or something, come back and look at it afterwards. So your goal is probably going to be something like a milestone. But then let me just see what I've got on here. Yeah, okay. So this is what your sheet looks like on the worksheet. And then what we will also do is there's not I haven't got a visual there, but on your worksheet there's also the page after that is a monthly planner. And we will just fill in something for the next week so that you've got your next step. So when you get down to this sort of monthly and weekly thing, that's when it's really useful to start thinking in terms of, set a milestone or a target, but also start thinking in terms of what are the actions and the habits that are going to get me there. So you might then say, set aside 3 times a week to write, or one day, or go out to a cafe once a week, kind of at this stage. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. So I'm just going to give you 2 minutes to just break down. I mean, you can do this as far into the future as you want, but just break down your goals into a chunk that will work for you for January to March. If you want, you can then split it into sub goals for each month. Okay. Hopefully, that's given you a bit of clarity on what your next smaller chunk of a goal is. And so, the only other thing that we're going to do today is to give yourself goals for the next week. Now, on here, on the actual worksheet, it gives you can basically just copy these as many times as you like for the year. It's got 5 weeks, and the diary also has 5 weeks for January. That's because it counts this week as a week. So what I want you to do is in week one, if you have done any writing work, put that in there, put a big tick next to it, because then you've done it. This is like writing a to-do list that involves having a shower and then ticking it off to start your feeling good. Um, and write, do annual planning and tick it off. That is your job for this week done. So yes, take so this thing about the regular reviews and things. So you can do this any way you like. You can write this in a normal diary, but the if I don't know if you can see this, but in the weekly writing diary, you put your targets there at the top, which you've taken from your weekly planning, and then at the end of the week, you do your progress. There's a little progress box, and what it means is that regardless of whether or not you're actually doing it, you're constantly coming back to what are my goals? How did I say I was going to get there? Just reminding yourself, oh, I said I needed to have more creative time. Have I done anything creative this week? How can I do it? And it's this constant process of reminding yourself so that you don't get to November and go, oh, what did I say I was going to do again? Which I'm sure we've all done. I certainly have. So yes, I'm going to give you another 2 minutes just to set yourself some goals for the coming week and to put a big tick against this one on that weekly planner chart. Oh, so that is you pretty much done. We are going to take, in fact, tell me again in the chat, either what your most exciting goal for the year is, what you're most excited about, or tell me what's your one next tiny step, that you're going to do this week. It doesn't matter whichever you fancy. And we'll share some of those in a minute. But the reason that I was suggesting that you think of this as like a version 1.0 and then go away for a little walk and come back to it is that I want you to think about whenever you're setting goals. Yeah, go away, think about it, and then come back and go, is this realistic? So when you look at your first quarter, you're going to go, okay, what do I have going on? Am I going away for a week's holiday? Don't set yourself a 10,000 words writing goal for the week that you're on holiday, unless you're on holiday in a cabin by yourself with no internet. Because you're going to want to, you need time to rest as well. You want to spend time with your family and your friends, whatever. Um, or if you've got a big work deadline, if you work in accounting, second half of January, you're not going to do any writing. Just accept it now, build it in, because then you don't have to feel bad. So, what is going on in your life? Is this possible and realistic? And think about that every time you do these kind of these chunks, these monthly goals, these smaller ones. And it might be that actually that means shifting the balance of your goals, or actually what you're doing for the whole year. Um, but that you need to be realistic, because then you can set goals that you can actually hit, and then you'll feel great about it rather than getting to the end of the year and going, oh, I haven't done anything again. So tell me in the chat, people, tell me either your most exciting goal or the one next thing that you're going to be doing in the next week. Let me see if I can stop sharing my screen. Oh, so the other thing that I want to say is I'm go because I'm an idiot. I you guys probably got two emails on Friday, and there was a very small setting in my email provider, and I sent the oh, you're signed up for this email, and also the would you like to sign up for this email, which was supposed to go to everyone else. So I'm really sorry to other people who are watching the replay who would have liked to have been here live, but who didn't even see that it was happening until after it was gone. Um, so what I will do is I will send the replay out to everyone, and we've got some really exciting links here. I would really love to put your links in the newsletter to your books, to your Substacks, to your whatever. And I will have access to this chat, which I can do afterwards. If you would like me to not do that, if you don't want to be included in that, would you whiz me a little message either on here or on email? Because obviously, if people don't want their stuff shared, then I don't want to do that. But I know that a lot of people having more people see your books and everything is good. So um, let's have a look at what we've got here. Mingle, finish the manuscript. Yes, I'm so excited for that, Eliza. Oh God, I'm doing it again. I'm so sorry. I'm having name issues here. Find your way back to writing without goals. A goal of not setting goals. I like it, Annie. Penelope, finish novel 2. Yes, I have Penelope's novel right down here. Very exciting. Finish editing your novel. Great. Helen, Rosemary, begin writing the new novel. Great. Cecilia, finish a draft and edit it. Claire, apply to another writer to see if they'll mentor you. Oh, I love that. Sarah, start writing again. You haven't written for a couple of months. Oh, we know that you'll do that. Love it. Hilary, block out and protect your writer time. Which, yeah, such a good goal. And those kind of process goals, that if you can get that nailed, that will really pay dividends over the long term. Lucy stashing, map out a plan for a chapbook. Ooh, Madican, yeah, do all the things that you need to do to get an agent. Fantastic. Yeah, and get your pack done and stuff. Yeah, Hester, make your next short film. Ooh, finish a draft of a feature, and continuing to make Tom Cruise proud. Anyone who hasn't so Hester comes to the online retreats a lot, and she does this thing when she's drafting where she just races through it like Tom Cruise running. So I think that's a really nice image and a useful one for all of us when you're writing a draft. Tom Cruise it. Panel, find a publisher, finish book 2. Nigel, a lot of research for the third novel, so it whips quite so quick. Esther, goal for the week is making an IG reel, yes. And Peel for a creative accountability buddy, yeah. Oh, makes such a difference. Penelope, link for her book, thank you. Gail, work in a different way this year, yes. To try and get to and share the process of finishing a manuscript online. I love that. Laura, finish screenplay number 2 and send it out. Jean, set up everything for the daily blocks of writing as consistently as I can. Great. Nikki, not to get stuck in the weeds so much. Weekly reviews, daily meditation and yoga. Yeah, I think something like that is going to be on mine as well. And Christine, enjoy your book being published. Yeah, that is such a great goal. I love it. It is 1/4 past. Can't believe we're actually, well, no, I can. This does tend to go an hour and a quarter. Thank you everyone so much for being here with me. It's been glorious. I'm sorry that I haven't been able to speak to you individually, but I hope that you've enjoyed getting the energy from everyone and getting some goals set up. And have a really, really lovely the rest of the day, or night. It's beautiful and frosty here, so I'm going to go out for a walk and get my head in the right space to start. So, yeah, I will see you at some point soon, I hope. Bye, everyone.